Hey, hola amigos, my name's Steve and today I want to talk about what it was like for me to be traveling as a gringo around Colombia for the past 3 months. So first I want to talk about my perception of Colombia before I actually went to go travel there. And as an American, I feel like a lot of people from North America or even Europe might perceive Colombia as a dangerous place due to how it has been portrayed in the mass media and things like Narcos, where this is kind of the only information a lot of people are receiving about Colombia, about the cocaine trade, about Pablo Escobar. So most people's vision of Colombia is just that, which is really sad to a lot of the people of Colombia because there's so many beautiful things that they're proud of that unfortunately don't usually get seen to the rest of the world. So with my videos, one of my goals was to do that and show the beautiful parts of Colombia, and I think I did. I discovered a lot that I didn't know existed, but ultimately what I learned about Colombia after traveling for so long is how it's really not as dangerous as people think. It is so beautiful and there are so many incredibly nice people that are very proud of Colombia and they want to show you the good parts. And if you go to Colombia, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, that there's a huge pride for their country and it's amazing and people really love it there and it's felt and it's known and it's magical. So before I give you recommendations about what to do in Colombia, I just want to quickly review my definition of travel and the style that I do it in, because I have been living out of a backpack and I'm sticking to a relatively low budget. So most of the places I've stayed in were hostels, and I stayed in some incredibly nice hostels. And I did that about half of the time, and the other half I was in Airbnb style apartments, which there are some amazing luxury style apartments for really cheap compared to what it would be like in the United States or some parts of Europe, for example. So you can really live in pretty luxury style accommodation in Colombia for pretty cheap, which is really nice. I documented all of my journeys, every place I've stayed in Colombia in my vlogs. So each individual one, I try to say the price of accommodation and give as much information as possible. So if you're interested in looking into accommodation, go check out my previous vlogs from Colombia. I have a bunch of them and hopefully it's informative to you and can maybe act as a reference and a guide for what you can be doing in Colombia as well. Before going to Colombia, I wasn't really aware of how diverse the country is. There is so much beautiful nature, and depending on where you are in the country, it's gonna be drastically different. And it's just so cool everywhere, from these lush green jungles with waterfalls everywhere to the coast. Even on the coast, there's places like that. It's just it's so diverse with different species of animals and fruits. One of my favorite things about Colombia were the fruits. There's some fruit I didn't even know existed until I went there, and it's just so fresh and sweet and juicy, and oh man, I'm gonna miss the fruit from Colombia. That was something that was amazing, and it's just available everywhere and it grows everywhere, so it's so cheap and you could find it on the side of the road and everybody has fruit. It's nice. But quickly I want to touch upon the language, because as a foreigner you might not know Spanish. So let's talk about this real quick. Let's just say I wish I paid a little bit more attention in high school Spanish class. While most people would be worried about coming to Colombia because of the perceived danger, I was actually more nervous about not being able to speak Spanish. But I will say it's not necessary to speak Spanish in Colombia, but it does make it much easier. If you don't speak Spanish, I highly suggest you download an app on your phone that'll help you learn Spanish. I use one called Duolingo, which a lot of people use, which is pretty good, so maybe look into that. Now for those of you who don't know even a little bit of Spanish, don't worry, let me put your mind at ease. There are still some easy ways that you'll be able to communicate here too. I suggest you take out your phone right now. If you don't already have the Google Translate app, go ahead and download it. Now that you have it on your phone, you can actually use it offline. Even if you don't have service anywhere, you can still translate words. If you do have service, it's cool because you can actually talk to your phone. It'll translate in Spanish, repeat it back to them, they can speak into it, it'll translate it back to you. It's pretty cool actually. And I've used that a few times in certain situations, and usually people think it's really funny too, especially if they've never seen anything like that before. I mean, it can be a little dorky sometimes, so I don't use it in all situations, but it can come in handy. Another way that you'll be able to speak Spanish is make friends with someone who speaks Spanish. I stayed in a lot of hostels and I met so many other people who speak English and Spanish, so if we go out, they can kind of handle the talking sometimes. Or if you're in a situation where you're alone and the person you're trying to talk to speaks Spanish, they don't speak English, ask around. There might be people around you who can translate for you. You can just look around and say, "Hablas inglés?" Also, as a foreigner, people were very patient with me if they can tell I didn't really understand, especially if I'm ordering food from their restaurant. I'm a customer there, so they're gonna be patient with you because you're paying them money. So you'll figure out a way to make it work. And if all else fails, you'll be surprised how far body language will go. You can communicate a lot by body language. Yeah, where do I party? ¿Dónde está la fiesta? So for anyone who is thinking about taking a trip to Colombia, I would highly suggest it. It is a great place to travel. One of my favorite places was going along the coast of Colombia. That was like the end of my journey there. I had my buddy Austin out there with me. It was so beautiful. So if you only have some time, I would recommend taking a peek at some of my videos and maybe see some places that you connect with and look interesting to you, because I traveled all over. So I mean, I had a lot of time, so I took my time traveling, but you can definitely do a shortened version of that. I met so many people while I was traveling who were backpacking and doing a very similar thing for maybe a week or 2 weeks, and it's a great place to travel. So go check out my videos to get some recommendations, and if you have any questions, leave some comments below. I'll try my best to answer any questions that you guys do have. But one final thing I do want to say is gracias por todo, Colombia. I had such an amazing time in your country, and just a huge special thanks to everybody I met throughout my journey here. Without you, it wouldn't have been the same, and I'll be back, for sure, I'll be back. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in America. I'm about to go to the States and spend a couple months traveling around my home country, the good old US of A. So I'll see you there. Thank you so much, everybody. Peace.